Hello everyone, it's me, Coffee Stitcher. It is the first Sunday in March. Huzzah! How's everybody? Awesome, that's good to hear. I've had a bowl of breakfast soup, which is what I'm now calling cereal. I've got my coffee, and I'm ready to do this week's video. Can you believe it's already March? It's already Sunday again. I hope everyone had a great week. I don't have any haul this week to show off, but I've got some good Q&A with examples and things. There will also be links below. And then I've got some whip updates. So, diving right on in. So the first question comes from Robin B. She asks, does the same person design all the patterns for Stitching Book Club? And that answer is yes. It is Kristen Howe of Sapphire Mountain Handcrafts. There will be a link below. And she does a really terrific job capturing all of the books. All of the previous ones are available still, so if you want to go back and pick up any of the first or second year, which were Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, Three Musketeers by Alexandre Dumas, Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett, I can talk, Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, and Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. Those are all still available. We're in the middle of Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. Coming up next will be Little Women by Louisa May Alcott, followed by F. Scott Fitzgerald, The Great Gatsby, and C.S. Lewis's The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. So, I highly recommend her designs. They're really pretty, and she does a really good job organizing the book. I am not reading Sense and Sensibility. I tried-ish. I looked at the book, but it just isn't happening. I can already tell. It's not happening, which disappoints my husband, but that's okay. I will definitely be reading Little Women, and Great Gatsby, and Wardrobe. All right. Let's see. Suzanne Girard asks, what is the difference between a Mirabilia and a Nora Corbett design? Okay, so they're the same person, first off. The best examples I can give. Okay, so you've got them both here. The first thing you're looking at is going to be size. Your Mirabilias are mostly going to need a fat quarter or larger, whereas the majority of your Nora Corbetts are going to fit on a fat eighth, maybe a little bit higher. Like, Anna was essentially 8x8. Queen Bee here is about 7x8. Whereas in these examples, Shakespeare's Fairies is 9x20. Merchant Mermaid is 13x17. And At the Met is 12x18. So your sizes are the first big difference. The next big difference is going to be what all is involved in them. So yes, they're smaller designs as well, but there's also usually less specialty fibers and less beading involved. And they can vary, because there are some in the Mirabilia line that don't have a lot. Gathering Eggs is all DMC, and I think it has like 3 beads in the entire thing. So it does vary dramatically from pattern to pattern. However, generally, you're going to have fewer beads, fewer treasures, fewer Krynic on a Nora Corbett than you will in a Mirabilia. I generally find that I can get a Nora done pretty quickly, whereas a Mirabilia takes me a lot longer. So, I hope that kind of answers your question. There's not really a right or a wrong between them, it just is a matter of personal preference. So, and I've liked designs in both sections. Holly asks a great question, and I apologize that I did not clarify this in the last video. She asks, what's the subject of Little Dove Designs' new stitch-along? And it is The Wizard of Oz. It's called Follow the Yellow Brick Road. It does look like it's going to be fairly heavy MGM influenced based on the blurred out photo. However, that's not necessarily a bad thing. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. It's about 15 USD because it's a British company. But it's available now. You get the border, and then early April is when part 1 comes out. So, Michaela from Munich asks a wonderful question. She says, you seem to use a lot of metallic thread or fuzzy stuff, or is that whisper, and other difficult threads. Do you have any advice on how to use them? Shorter links, thread heaven, a lot of coffee and patience. So first, I'm actually going to show you the difference. Fuzzy Stuff and Whisper are 2 different fibers, both sold by Rainbow Gallery. But they are definitely different. So the first one I'm going to show, this is Whisper. So they all come on these little cards. So Whisper is a lot fluffier. It's a thinner fiber, though. It's a little hard to tell, but it's a thinner, finer fiber with some wispies around it. That does work real well when you need just finely fuzzy things. Sheep, beards, animal tails, what have you. Fuzzy Stuff, on the other hand, is a significantly thicker, which you can see, with not quite as much fuzz to it. It's a little bit more like a tiny feather boa. I like using it. It's a really good one if you need sort of crazy hair. It comes in more vibrant colors too. Whisper is all browns, grays, black, and white. I think maybe 1 or 2 other colors, but Fuzzy Stuff comes in all sorts of colors. So it's really great for fun, like wardrobe-y things, or in my case, I used them for fluffy clouds. But it's really great for stuff like that. I recommend with Whisper that you do it on the top stitch only and do a DMC on your bottom stitch. With Fuzzy Stuff, you don't need to you can just do the top stitch only. You don't have to don't do a full cross, and you don't have to lay a bottom stitch under it because it's thick enough, and when you run your needle over it to fluff it up, it'll cover in any of your gaps. So that's the difference between those 2. Now, to the rest of your question. Any advice? Shorter links, definitely. I'll usually do a DMC fingertip to elbow. For acrylic, I'll do about a half of that. Just to cut down on knots. I don't use Thread Heaven or any thread conditioner. I don't like the residue it leaves behind. I don't like the way it feels in my fingers. And I'm a little afraid that it may eventually dull the sheen of the metallic. So I'm not a huge fan of it. And it also didn't seem to really do much for me in terms of knots. What I will say helps a lot is a larger eyed needle. I usually work on a 28 for most everything, but on Krynic or Treasure Babe, any metallic, particularly one that's classified as a high luster, I'll use a larger eyed needle because the high luster ones are a looser weave. I'm not really sure why that is, but it's a looser weave. So the bigger eye definitely helps. The bigger eye will also help open up the hole, which lets the metallic go through a lot easier. I recommend the same thing with Fuzzy Stuff and Whisper as well. Really, any specialty fiber that's not cotton or silk, I strongly recommend a larger eye needle. It just makes things a little more simple. And yes, always lots of coffee and patience. I'll drink to that. Okay, so Miss Alab asks a wonderful question. She says, who are your top 10 designers in any order? These are not in any specific order. So, and I'll link the designers below if they have an Etsy shop or a website. I'll put that all down below so you can go check them out too. There's Tempting Tangles, Frosted Pumpkin, Michelle Bindi Stitches, Blue Ribbon Designs, which y'all, she just came out with some new cross-stitch patterns for the first time in ages, and they're fabulous. I will definitely be partaking in them. Cloudsfactory, Stitching Book Club, Tiny Modernist, Mira/Nora, Brooks Books, and Soda Stitch. So those are my top 10, no specific order whatsoever. They're all kind of my go-tos. I really like working on their stuff. And that is the end of the Q&A for today. All right, so what did I work on this week? Well, I'm glad you asked. So Sunday, as I said, I was going to do my 300 stitches to finish up that goal on Baba Yaga, and I did get there. So I finished out the bucket, and I got started, almost done with her paddle. So this month I'll finish the paddle and move on to the broom. The pattern is by Threadsower on Etsy, which I'll link below as well. Stupid thingy, a dupe. I really hate my tablet sometimes. Any day now, Dropbox. I'm stitching this on a one-off from Fortnite Fabrics that I've been calling Double Chocolate Chip. There we go. So there's the full pattern by Threadsower. So you can see I got the paddle done, I'll do the broom, and work my way down from there. Right. And I'm doing it all in Etoile C550. Right. Then I started and knocked out a WIPGO goal of Joan Elliott's A Year of Silhouettes. This is my WIPGO goal number 24. So here's the full pattern. I started in the middle. My original fabric choice I decided wasn't going to work out in the long run because with what I've got planned, you're not going to be able to see a lot of the really pretty fabrics. That seemed like a waste. So this was just some random neutral that I had in my stash. So here's where I'm at. It's a little hard to see on this fabric currently, but it'll be better a little later on. That's actually over the 300. 300 was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Took care of the 6 rails, so I went ahead and finished out the fence and started in on the grass. I am using a whole lot of different overdyes. So the grass is Green Apple from Threadworks, and the fence post was Caramel Apple from Color and Cotton. So, looking forward to seeing how that comes together. Go in there. There we go. All right. Then, let's see, my work project this week was, continued to be Cloudsfactory's Through the Stars Zodiac. I got another ring, another small ring finished, and I got a good chunk of the next ring. Which I'm just realizing now. I'm hoping it's just the way the fabric is. Okay, yeah, it's just the way the fabric is at the moment. Whew, we're lined up still. So I should finish out this ring this week and probably get the next small ring, and then I'll just have 2 more big rings, and my frames will be done. So the goal this month, I'm going to just finish up the frames. I'm going to do all the little in-between star doobies, and I'm going to do in the moon. And then in April, we should have a finish, because I can go in and finish up the remaining 4 constellations pretty easily. The constellations don't take all that long. It's the frames themselves that do. So that's been my work project. And then finally, part 2 of Sense and Sensibility came out. I'm using her kit, so it's her called for colors and her fabric. And here's part 2. So part 1 was the big center flower, these pink flowers, and the small white flowers. So the new part were the 2 white ones, the blue squiggles, and the pink flowers. So I'm really loving how this is turning out. This is definitely the top of the pattern. This is the edges. So the corners here aren't done, and then there's some below. So I'm not sure if it's going to be a square pattern, or like a totally square pattern, or not. I think it is. But I'm looking forward to seeing what's coming and then finishing it. So I did achieve a goal on this, which was to finish part 2. Part 3 is on my list, but it comes out on the 27th. So it'll depend a little on what's going on that weekend, but I may actually get Sensibility and how big it is. I may actually get that one finished this month too. So we're looking, quite honestly, at a potential 2 finishes this month, because Search the Sky should be a finish as well. So that'll be exciting. So, yeah. So I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to work on this week. Probably Search the Sky by Waxing Moon. That way I can get my Whipgo goal crossed off. May even work some more, and I may work on Frosted Pumpkin's Chinese Zodiac, so that I can work and do some Stitch Asia stuff. So, anyhow. That's it for me this week. I hope everyone has a terrific week, and I will see y'all next time.